Hi, everyone. I'm Christina. I want to welcome everybody tonight. Well, it's nighttime for me. Everybody, hello, October Rays and Kylie, Kim and Jonathan, Robin, Dan, Connie. Who else is here? So far, that's everybody who signed in. Mwah! And welcome to all the new subscribers also. Last night was an amazing night with Paul and Adrienne. There was a wonderful interview, and a lot of people were helped, I believe, and I just felt the presence of God. It was just very powerful. It was wonderful, and it's great to see everybody today. Oh, also, links for Paul and Adrienne's channel are in the description box, as well as the link for the interview, just in case you haven't seen it, as well as the link for Daily Excellence and my backup channel. So I read a few interesting things in the news today, and it's like you think of those comedians. Who is that guy who was always saying, "Here's your sign," kind of country kind of thing going on? Hello, Barbara and Diana. Yeah, well, this is one of those things. If you didn't notice the picture, there's this M116A1 hand grenade simulator. They call it the simulator. It's designed for training exercises to acclimate troops to the sights and sounds of battle in a non-lethal format. Okay, well, news came out that the police warned Oregon beachgoers about grenades washing ashore. These particular simulator ones just washing ashore on the Pacific coast. Newport officers said 3 devices had washed onto the beach and instructed public not to handle or move them. Now I'm sitting here trying to think, even though I have amnesia, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I have never heard of anything like that washing up on our beaches. I've seen, corpses of animals coming in and oil coming up on the beaches, things like that, but never that. And you're like, okay, got these radiation pills they ordered recently, and now there's these, and they're not pulled pins either. They're completely still together, and it's like, why were those things just floating out there? How many more are gonna wash ashore? What happened? That's the first thing I'm thinking is, how exactly did those things end up in the middle of the Pacific floating up anyway? Hello, Dunamis, Dia, Carlos, MP. Right? So the article says police in Oregon last week warned local beachgoers about grenades that had washed onto the shore and appeared to still be able to explode. The police department in the city of Newport issued a statement on Wednesday saying 3 separate grenades somehow washed onto the beach there a day earlier. Okay, they were very white in color. They're trying to describe them, but I went ahead and pulled up some of the schematics on this thing. Okay, it weighs 106 grams. It's a pull wire friction ignition with a delay of 6 to 12 seconds. Shelf life 3 years, service life 1 year. And it looks like they're 25 to a carton. Just something to think about. All right. There's an address here too for HFI Pyrotechnics Inc. in Canada, Prescott in Canada. So maybe they floated from there. I'm not sure, but this is a U.S. thing from what I can see. So, the mind reels. What is going on in the Pacific? See what else they had to say. If you encounter such a device, please do not handle or attempt to move it, the police department said in its statement, which served as a warning to members of the public. Call the police to report the device's location. And all those words they talk about in safety. You just see the condition of the world and you go, okay, if people aren't preparing now, some kind of way, here's your sign. Here's another one. You got to look at the big picture. All right. Now, a friend of mine, Dan Vincent, He sent me some articles last night about Mississippi barges not being able to get through because of low water levels, right? Sure enough, I was able to look up. There's an article that came out today. Thank God, it's good news. That huge barge backup eases on the Mississippi, freeing tons of cargo. 2 closures have been reopened, but with restrictions, Coast Guard says. Blockage forced companies to find other methods to move goods. So shipping is getting harder and harder, and it was a backup of more than 2,000 boats and barges. All right, having to be cleared, and it had a lot of goods on it, and some of these were perishable goods, so you don't want them just sitting out, letting them go bad. Yeah, and they're saying these barges are getting stuck because of drought, and it's hard to imagine with all the rain and flooding that the East Coast got recently. In the recent months, they were just seeming to just never, it was just hitting them, but yet there's a drought right now. I know there's like just drought spreading everywhere. Now, just south of the Mississippi is the Gulf of Mexico, and I know a lot of you might have gotten the post I sent earlier, but there was a 4.5 magnitude in the Gulf of Mexico. I can't believe they even showed it, because they just stopped years ago. When I started putting a little bit of light on the Gulf of Mexico, all of a sudden, those, we just stopped seeing them. But like this last year, they've let us have a couple, and this is one of them. And it was close to the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico, 4.5. So lots going on in the earth. Is going on with the shipping. We've got grenades washing up in Oregon. And Russia's bombing Ukraine. We know this. And it's pretty big in the news right now. It's getting more intense. All right. But the weirdest article I found today is that 15,000 Ukrainians, they responded by threatening a mass orgy if Russia uses nuclear weapons. 15,000 people. And they're believing that more appear to be ready to join into this protest, okay? It's like, I'm confused. I'm like, what, does war turn you on or something? I mean, what kind of protest is this? But it tells you the state of the world that we're in. And I'm not kidding you. This is in the Jerusalem Post. I'm not kidding. It's titled, 15,000 Ukrainians decide to have a mass orgy if Russia deploys nuclear weapons. It says more than 15,000 have confirmed participation in a sex party on a hill if Putin decides to press the red button, which participants even indicating whether they, no, I'm not reading that. They've got indicators on their preferences and whatnot and how many stripes and all this, but they're registering for this. And that's their response to this. They claim that the event in which the locals will give up the atomic shelters and bunkers in favor of fornication all over the place, and that it's popular. All right. This is why we're in the last days, because this is not something that God approves of. This is not the way he wants people in society to act. This is not what he put us here for. And we are in the last days. And you look at that and you go, oh my gosh, we're in big trouble. And you look at what's washing up on the shore. And you hear about them submarines going missing, and them submarines that have been showing up on our beaches for a while from the other side. And you're like, okay, I'm watching this happen. That we can't get our own barges down the river, but somehow something's going off on the major coastlines of the beaches. A lot's going on. I'm just looking at some of the comments real quick. Hello, Adrienne, Sam King, everybody. Yeah, Sandy, that's kind of shape our world is in. It's like, where did those two even connect, those two ideas? But there you go. This is the world. And we have to understand if you haven't stepped out the world yet, if this is really a good time to start coming back to the light, because this is a big test coming on the world. This is a lot, even the garden with the apple kind of temptation. You've got to strengthen yourself. You've got to get closer to God and understand when you see these things that this is the kind of stuff that they were trying to warn us about in scripture, to be watchful, that these things would be happening. All right. And be ye separate. All right. What is it? Harmless as a dove, but wise as a serpent. So we can't ignore things like this. We may not approve. We may know this isn't right. We know these things happen, but we also need to at least be aware and see that these things are all part of prophecy. These things are all coming together faster and faster and faster. So you have to think about where you are. Where do you want to be at the end of the day? You need to make sure that you dress for the job you want spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're not serving two masters, because you can't do that. All right. Hello, Joanna Hunt. Welcome. Michelle, since paid in full. Came so late. I have to scoot back a little bit to the beginning. I feel you. I've had to do that a few times. Clarissa had a dream where her body was glowing bright like the sun. Yeah, that's heaven, baby girl. That's it feels like a warm blanket. It's really nice, or like a big hug when you're in the light. Love Russell. Yes, Jeff Foxworthy. That's Here's Your Sign. That's who I was talking about. That's what this is. You can see the signs of the season. And I'm not going to take a whole lot of your time tonight. I'm actually pretty exhausted from the weekend. My daughter had her birthday. Family came down. It was all this fun. Paul and Adrienne, I really recommend you go check out that video if you haven't. I know a lot of you have, and that's how you ended up here. And I'm so glad this helped people. This was what I was hoping, that something that I knew that was this important didn't just die with me. It needed to be told, and I'm really grateful. And I think it'll bless you if you haven't seen it yet. I just want to thank everybody who is here tonight, and just tell I love you guys and God bless you. And I promise I will be talking to you very soon. I've got some cabbage soup to eat. Mwah! I love you guys. Bye.